All right, we'll bring this meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Thank you all for being here tonight. Before we get going, 1.03, we're going to move that down to the transportation and facilities work session. So you don't have to get that right away. We'll just move it down. Okay. All right. Moving on, correspondence and public participation. Hold on. I gotta read my spiel. Give me a second. This is a point in the meeting for comments on matters not already on the agenda. Comments on agenda items will be accepted when that item comes up during the meeting. Interested persons may also submit views in a written form to the clerk or superintendent prior to the meeting, and those comments will be brought to the attention of the board during the meeting. Do I have any public comment or public participation? Mr. Fulton.
I know I realized I was here about 2 weeks ago for no problem, and I thought it would be taken care of, and I think it may have been an oversight on the school's part, but Saturday night's game, I'm there, and here's Gimli's name is, once again, Zimmerman Fulton listed on there. Mr. Soul called me this morning and said, must have been this half on the school part, whatever it said, I don't remember exactly what it was. I said, well, I'm going to find out. I called the school and they said it's from the original, it was pretty hot Saturday night, but it was from the original posting they got, like the second or third of the January thing. So that, I figured it was just an oversight error, but it continues to cause problems. I mean, my daughter really talked to me because of the stupid name change that happened at the behalf of the school. So, once again, I just want, if it comes up again in the future, I would hope that it's just shot down right at the beginning. So, that's pretty much all I have to say. I mean, I got a copy of it if anybody wants to see it. And what's his name was there. So, I think it can be verified that this isn't something I pulled up or made up or whatever. So, and I did verify it with the school. So, just want to know that it's tough to keep reliving this thing after how we. So, okay, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
First, I have a thank you. Appreciate the schedule this year for basketball. And in the 15 years that I've been a part of it, it's the best schedule that we've had as far as how the season has started, and then getting into conference games later. It's been really good. So I just want to give kudos to Tom and whoever else has worked on that in the years that brought this to fruition. Secondly, my understanding is that regarding policy, if a person has a concern, they go to the person that they have a concern with, and then they're allowed a meeting. And I have emailed and called with concerns since about the 17th of December, and I have yet to be able to set up a meeting. So I would ask that can be remedied, please. Thank you.
Anything else? All right, with that, we're moving right along. We'll move right into new business. 5.01.
So, what was the federal?
So every year we bring the policy and procedures for impact aid in Title VI. And we bring it to the board because to do the impact aid application, we have to review that every year and give parents a right to look at that and make suggestions. So we held our meeting at the Bicentennial Library this year. So since I've taken it on, I've had it at FBMS Library, I've had it at the Chief Dull Knife Library, and then we've had it here at the Bicentennial one now. And we didn't have any attendees come to the meeting, but me and Derek had good conversation about the policy and the curriculum that is being shared with them. And we also we sent out letters to every parent. So we sent out a lot of letters. And we invited them to come to this meeting and share any concerns they have. And so I don't know if we have any, but so with that, then basically it just goes on our policy that we reviewed it and we'll be good to go. Unless there's other concerns. Parents also had an opportunity to mail the letter back to me that had room on there I included that on the board agenda, that they could write in also, so they didn't have to show up or come to the meeting or anything like that. And we didn't receive anything there either. So I think that the school district, we kind of took that as doing a good job at, offering the curriculum and keeping up and following the policy. So that is it with that.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Oh, actually, and also we got a chance to go down and meet Gene Small, the president. And so that was kind of nice to kind of put a face, especially for you two, with you being new. And he's like, I'm just 2 months on the job, So we had a great conversation with him about impact aid and all sorts of other things that came up. So that was really, that was nice to do. So, yeah.
All right, thank you.
Mhm.
5.02.
So we've got our updates here for our district letters for the agreements to adopt those tonight, and the special tuition rates that go with that. So, do you have any questions?
These are all the updated required forms from OPI that we've been waiting for.
And now we can send out our letters.
Yeah.
Once we.
Yeah. Chris and I talked today, so she's hoping that the latest next week, but she's already on it, so maybe even sooner. It should be all done soon, get everything posted on our website and Facebook for everybody to know too that wants to apply. So we got it. Yeah. We're working on that.
I move the Colstrip Public Schools Board of Trustees approves the required policy changes on the first reading for policy 3141 forms FP 14.1, FP 14.2, and FP 14A. Out of district attendance agreements as presented.
Second.
Okay, motion second. Any public comment on this agenda item? Move for the board. Wade?
Aye.
Tiff?
Aye.
Sabrina?
Aye.
Aye. Perfect. Sooner the better. I know she's been working on it. I'm sure it'll go.
Yep.
So
It's a good plan.
perfect. 5.03. These are the policies for the therapy dogs and whatnot. So
Yep.
therapy animals. Go ahead.
So we've got a lot of policies too from OPI on these. We already have put them on here for you to see the two that are in place. So 8425, we do have that, the service animals, and then the procedure for that. So we've attached all of them just because they relate to each other. But the therapy dog and the request for that, for the procedure for the application, we didn't have those policies at all in our policy handbook. So we're asking to adopt those so we can get that going and work on getting these things in place.
I move the Colstrip Public Schools Board of Trustees approves a recommendation to add policy 8426 and 8426F, request to use therapy animal in school, for the first reading as presented.
I'll second.
Okay, the motion is second. Any public comment on this agenda item? Any for the board?
So I
asked Brittany about insurance levels and kind of what, because at least from what I gathered, is that the school has a 750 and 1.5 million. Is that for the school or just
So that is, what did I say? So he said the state had a cap. So this is for anyone else. Yeah. So if it is for a business coming in or a individual who owns the dog because they are the owner, then that is the cap. So it'd be a 750 per person or 1.5 million per occurrence. That's the max. So the board could, you pointed out something really good, that it doesn't really say how much insurance that person would have to carry. That is something that you guys should probably look at to what you want to do. For our facility use agreements, they're $1 million. So I asked him, he said, well, I can't really tell you what I would suggest.
Just
But
curious, do you hold any insurance for your dog? I mean, individually, because it's a therapy dog? Okay. You're not required to at all. Okay. I didn't know if that came with that territory too. If that was something that had to-
So the district has liability insurance that would cover us as a district.
Right.
But if it's someone else's dog, they have to have insurance to cover them as well.
that's what that policy is saying. And I kind of looked it up. The recent is very broad, so it just depends on your dog. It could be like, did your dog have any incidences reported? But it could be anywhere from $120 to maybe even $1,200 annually for someone to carry that insurance. So I found a lot of information, so nothing was really concrete. I think it just would matter who that person went to for insurance and things like that. So, okay.
I guess, I mean, Ms. Peterson, because you are the one here. But do you have an insurance carrier that would provide something like that, or have you looked into that at all? Okay.
Ms. Fisher, I hope you don't think we're coming up to you directly. There's just getting to be a lot of dogs on campuses that don't, in the districts I serve, a purpose, right? They're not a certified therapy dog. They're not why, basically. Okay, like I said, it's not anything on you. It's been brought to this board's attention more than once about the dogs on campuses. We're like, okay, well, let's look into this. If we're doing it the right way, fine. But if we're not doing it the right way, and these dogs are just companions or whatnot, then we just can't have it. That's why these policies were brought up today. That's why we're talking about them. And that's why we're moving forward. As long as they're certified and we're doing it the right way, that's fine. But if we're not, I'm sorry. They just can't be on campus. And if we let that door open, what else are we bringing in? Right?
We can't allow ponies.
I did read that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I did read that.
There's just, like I said, we're trying not to open up this huge can of worms and then something that is useful is now not. So that's what we're doing.
Well, it expands too, because we get half therapy. We only had service dogs. So that actually broadens the type that you could have as long as it's all followed. Because when I, was asked about some of these things off and on throughout the year, I did email our legal department and was told that we're opening ourselves up to quite lawsuit possibilities if we don't have these in place the way they're written here. So then that came through, this new one just came through, fortunately. So kind of at the same time I was asking the questions. So that'll broaden who can have them and for what reasons, as long as we do it correctly, we're safe.
They're gonna have to show that their dogs are like licensed as therapy dogs.
There's quite a few requirements. That's that procedural one on there. But yeah.
426.
Yep.
The list of all that stuff.
There's renewals once a year to the superintendent. All of the proof that we're talking about needs to be shown. Service dogs are a little bit different than we already have on here. those can be in a 504, an IEP, or the obvious one, like they use examples such as like a CNI that we just know may have some parameters too that we still have to work within, some guidelines. So, but anyway, it'll broaden, like I said, and Steve's been saying it's come to my attention several times. So,
I think between now and the second reading, we can take a look at different, if there are other districts that have this policy and then a level of insurance that's required. And I didn't have time to look at that.
yeah, I'm glad you thought like
I think we should definitely have some sort of insurance. I mean, the individual should carry some insurance.
They have to, according to this one.
Okay, they
Yeah,
have.
it
to.
just doesn't
Yes.
specify.
Oh, it doesn't specify how much.
Right, that's what's missing.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, that they have it is required for the therapy dog. Yeah.
I don't want it to be cost prohibitive too. I mean, I don't want that, but I also, when I was looking at that, I just went, it doesn't really specify anything there. It just says, open insurance program.
I got that link. Yeah, I sent it on to you. It was late in the day, but we can look at that because, like Brittany's saying, I mean, anywhere from 120 to 1,200. But I imagine, I mean, it's kind of like insuring, somebody that has a lot of car accidents, right? If the dog has prior issues, I don't know. But all depends on that. Some of that.
As long as we're doing it the right way. No problem.
Yeah, that's all.
Right with that, Wade?
Aye.
Jeff? Sabrina?
Aye.
Okay, with that, we're moving to the work session. Communications, Calendar Committee. That's you, boss.
Okay, yeah, it's been good. We've had 2 meetings. We've been going every other week. We have our committee, people that were voted into those positions, and then several other participants. Admin team's been there, so I've been following the same process, this decision-making process I explained last time. So this last meeting, we actually got through PIR days, PDW days, start of the year, flex days. I go topic by topic, and they all have input on note cards. And then I just kind of look for trends, make sure, if it's all the same, if we have a lot of differences. So then we can start basically reviewing this year's calendars, what the board does, what they look at. I read our calendar adoption policy. So we need to do that and then kind of scrutinize it. Went over our purpose for calendar committee. And then I've done some follow-ups to bus routes has been a thing that's come up. So I know I talked to Mr. DeSold about that. He's already got some things going right away to try to get the bus routes to not be an issue as far as which school they go to first. If the buses are on time, then I'd like to nullify that because we have a lot of work to do with the rest of the calendar, but getting them to the schools on time so that there isn't school slighted breakfast time or any of that kind of stuff. So Tom started working on that right away and already came up with some answers that we think are going to help. So that I didn't want that to be like a lot of animosity between schools. That seemed to be the big rub, the first meeting, and some things I started hearing about. I'm still new to this game here. I've been here that long, but you hear things pretty quick, and so the calendar anyway can move along if we can resolve that. I think we move faster because we still got to get a proposal or two. There's been some different calendars proposed, so we'll give those attention to once we get a calendar built. And I can start plugging in some of the days already for next week. We meet again on the 3rd, next Monday, week from today. We meet again. So anyway, we can start putting something together based on what people have already said that they liked or didn't like. And I don't know, it's been a good group. So like I said, it's a kind of a effective, efficient process for decision making that I stumbled on. Fortunately, it's been working out okay. So yeah, we're making progress. Of course, we gotta get that to a community vote or a community survey still then to you guys. So, whichever other calendars you run through that way.
If you haven't looked at the notes from that meeting this last year that we had regarding 4-day school week and 5-day school week, I would recommend that because a lot came out in that.
Yeah, those are made available to me right before we started. I haven't gone through them, but we'll be hitting some of those topics. So yes, I will. That'd be helpful. Thanks.
Can I add one thing on communication? The negotiations with the CCA, the negotiator has been scheduled for the training for the 29th.
Okay,
So anybody
that's one.
who wants to join.
Wednesday.
So anybody who needs or wants that training for the negotiation is available then, and then we'll start negotiations.
At 4 o'clock.
4 o'clock.
Right, with that, move into transportation facilities, deferred maintenance.
Yeah, so I know we went through and talked to Tyler, went through all three schools, went through, kind of that list, and I haven't been in touch with him. I was wondering if you had been in touch with him, but I can reach out to him and just see where he's at on things. But that went well. I mean, it was the projects. The second part of the ways to take on maintenance list is
The favorite part of the meeting.
yeah, exactly. So I sent just this morning. I sent out the maintenance list individually to each one of the principals and asked them to go through and see which one of those, if any of those projects were already completed, or if they were, if they were still outstanding. Just so that we have something to go off of, because this list just came off that deferred maintenance list that's been there for I don't know how many years. So I know Robin was out of the office, so she just got with me a little bit on doors and things. She's gonna have to look at things, but then the projects up at the FFA barn have not been completed, and then the flooring has not been completed. So that part, I'll just I'll basically defer to what Robin comes up with the doors once she has a chance to look at those and see, so that we can see which ones of those are still outstanding. Mrs. O'Toole, if you'd like to go through yours, over that PMS.
Sure, so I just have, are you just talking about this one sheet that you sent?
Yeah, so I
Okay.
just broke them down into individual.
You're on the spot.
So,
Your turn.
Sure, so if we have the lock repair, which is the first one, and maybe Robert can also help with this one. I'm not understanding what that means when it says lock repair. I didn't put that in, so I don't know what that means. It says the hallways. I don't know.
and that's line 24.
The paint stained ceiling in classroom A33. It looks like it's done to the best of what needs to be done. Painting the room in classroom A33, no. Replacing the carpet in classroom A31, no. That's part of that abatement series as well. That'll come up. Painting the classroom of A32, no. Paint the stained ceiling tiles. It looks like it's been done to the best of that ability.
Okay.
Painting the room and bathroom, it looks like that should be 11B. And no. So paint the room and stain ceiling and bathroom, it should be 111A. No.
Are those 111B, are those in the?
Downstairs across from the main office.
Okay.
That's what I'm coming up with, unless there's an 11B and 11A somewhere.
Okay. Well, I was just, because we looked at those and we looked at the ones
Yeah.
in the last gym, I just wanted to
Yes.
make sure.
Yeah.
I knew, okay.
Redirecting the drain from the overflow away from the building at the central office area. I don't know if that's done on that side or not. Are you talking, see, I'm assuming that you're talking about the old central office area.
Okay.
So I don't know. Replace the broken blinds in classroom 174. Yes, actually we replaced all that side over there with with new blinds just recently. Robert and his crew did that. Christmas break, I believe. The addressing the leaking windows and the water damage in the library. Well, you guys came up with that, Tyler. So you guys did do that. Painting in classroom 182. Yep, that's taken care of this past summer. To address the controls on the heater, I'm not certain in that classroom. I don't know if that was or not. It seems like it's fixed, but I don't know what else needed to be done. Fix and repair the exterior lighting on the eave on outside of the door 10. It doesn't look like it. The lights are out still, and also the interior as well. I know that there's a case ticket pending on the interior lights. Redirecting the drain from overflow away from the building also on that outside door number 10. I believe that this was also needed to be put on for door number 7. That's the activities entrance, so door 7. Door 8 are the activities entrance. Doors 9 and 10 are the bus entrance. And no, that has not been taken care of in any of those. Replace outside door 7, no. Replacing the carpet in the old addition room 111, no, that's part of the abatement. That'll come up this next summer. Looks like Robert has that slated already in May, beginning of June. To fill in the stucco cracks in the hallway of the old building, I don't know where that's at. There's cracks everywhere in that building, so if we want to be more specific, that'd be great. Replace damaged ceiling tiles throughout the old addition. Well, that's always a chore in itself, so I put some of it's done and some of it still needs to be done. Cap electrical outlets in the old addition lab room. This is Evans Tech Room A118. No, it doesn't look like anything's done in that. So the second thing on patching and painting that room would also be no as well.
Okay.
And then the last one, paint the classroom of the old addition wood shop room of 144. Yes, that was done this last summer. I don't know if you have other ones that are still attaching to your Wayne's maintenance list, but I put like the new carpet area, all those old rooms that would be a part of the abatement that you guys have approved that's coming up. The activities entrance that we're still working on, we already talked about that with McKinstry too, and you guys, along with that sped door. And then I don't know if this needs to be on here or where this needs to be. Again, we bought, and Robert can probably say this too, but we had purchased some doors that need to be hung in the cafeteria for safety reasons. And I had to move those doors out of the old shop because of the flood that happened. So those are moved now, but I feel like with the money that was spent on those doors, they probably should be hung, like I said, for safety reasons. I don't know if you want to. We have the doors in.
Okay.
Thank you for going through that.
You're welcome.
And yeah, I mean, this is just to kind of state where we're at, and then we'll move forward from there. Add things and take things off. And then Mr. Bailey, he only had 3 items on here, and I know the status of all 3 of those. So we talked about a couple of them. So we'll just kind of move forward from there. And add to this list, and then we talk to Mr. Otremba and Robert about where we go from here with this list, because I have a couple of ideas. So we'll see.
Sounds good.
So when you say safety on those doors that need to be hung, what's the, like, what?
Well, currently, and it's also the auditorium doors as well. We have the old auditorium doors and the old cafeteria, the original.
Okay.
And so they don't have locking mechanisms at all in them. There's no lock for it that we can use. And so we need something in order to, if we go into a lockdown, situation or whatever, we'll need to have those hung and secured for that reason. So we're trying to work with that along with those cafeteria doors. That needs to be a further conversation on what happens with that situation. For example, if we had to go into lockdown where the kids were in the cafeteria, we need some way to secure that area. Currently, it is not secured.
So we should probably do that. Like soon. Just because it's a safety thing for kids.
Is there a reason why they're,
Which one?
okay, there's not like a mechanical reason why we can't, yeah, okay.
That moves us right into 702, and that's you. 702, Case.
We've been knocking out some work orders and when they keep coming in, we keep doing them. We never stop. We got the room abatement scheduled for basically 7th to 13th. And we will do the pouring the science room upstairs. We'll do it the same way as we did one.
Okay.
We did the laundry room, that turned out pretty good.
Are you working on routine maintenance schedules that we can have? So everyone can look at them and, you know, just if anything ever happened to you, you have lists of,
I got them all on paper.
you know, maybe we could work on trying to get those into like a shared Google Drive or something.
And again, if there's anything on that case, Rob, that you think you can't get to right away, contact it, but I know that's not the easiest thing to do in Colstrip. I've been through it too, but if there's any chance that we can get somebody to help with some of these projects, just need to be buttoned up, let's just get it done. Like the flooring on the stage, we're just gonna get that done. Right, so don't worry about it. So, like I said, even the doors, get the doors on. If there's some reason you can't get to it, we can get somebody on it,
Yeah.
let's do it.
Are these case reports, do they ever fall off, like after a certain time period, or will they stay open forever until someone goes in and manually closes them that they're done? Okay, okay. Is it user friendly? No.
Case is designed more for a full service center. And it's, it was primarily an IT service center. So it really requires somebody, like it's designed for a group that has a help desk ticket manager, someone that's just like their job is to run a ticket. So I spend a lot of time with my tickets, and I'm used to that kind of system because I've used them elsewhere, but it's a lot of management for just a single person team to handle. The more you use it, I guess the different it becomes, but I don't know, it's a system, especially if you're not already in the mode of ticket documentation management. It's a powerful system, but that causes some of the learning curve for the student. And it is designed for an IT help desk service center.
Have you ever used flow forms? Or has maintenance ever used flow forms? Easy.
We asked for a ticketing system like 2 years ago. This is what they got, and they had to build it for us because, like you said, it was meant for tech, not maintenance. Yeah, so I mean, if there's a better system that we can implement for maintenance, I'd be open to it.
We used to use Case, and it was much different because we could go in and update or add to a previous work order.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering about.
That's all flow
So that we
forms.
switched to.
School did, yeah, I was gonna say, we went from school dude to flow forms because school dude was
So we all wanted to go back to Case, but then. it was way different.
Yeah, because that was my question, is can you go in and update or change or, yes, you can, Robert?
The functionality is there. The principals have access to do it. I worked with Alicia some weeks ago just to see that we maybe that she sees. And like, I know exactly what to look at when she came in, but it's just the overwhelming of just this huge list that comes out. You can sort, listen, the ticket list is like an Excel spreadsheet, like, well, just like what you're seeing in your case reports. To be able to sort through it, you have to sort it like a spreadsheet, and it just feels overwhelming. So it's customizable, but just the default customizations, even it took me some time of playing with it to get it to a view that's easy and quick for me to look at. So it is possible, but if a person's not in it often, it's an overwhelming beast. And that's why systems like this that are used in larger organizations, there is a person or a team that their main job.
I was just gonna say it because he's sitting right there. They're coordinators.
Yeah, exactly.
They coordinate these jobs to send these out to the maintenance guys. We don't have that position. We don't have enough maintenance guys to say Robert should be that coordinator. He should be the one sitting at that desk looking at those case reports or those tickets and saying, this is priority 1, this needs to be done this week, this is a priority 2 or priority 3. We don't have that. And the case reports, the tickets just keep coming in day after day after day. And it's hard to, with the manpower we have in maintenance, to prioritize. Now, those doors on the cafeteria, to me, should be a priority 1. Those should be done now, this week, next week.
That's what I'm trying to
But like
figure
Evan said,
out.
he doesn't have time. He has time for his department, to work on his things. We don't have a coordinator that can sit there and go through all these case tickets and prioritize them and kick them to maintenance personnel, when we don't have the maintenance personnel to just do, you know what I mean? Especially when there's multiple tickets coming in daily. So stuff, it's frustrating.
I would
I'd like to see a lot of stuff get knocked off, but I also understand that you knock 2 or 3 tickets off a day, and you get 6 or 7 more the same day. Or 2.
I just wonder if there's something that's easier than this. Was my
There's probably something easier as far as reporting the tickets we
Question.
need in the question, or in the things that need to be fixed. But it also comes down to,
Reporting the tickets have been simplified by being able to send an email. With maintenance, it's not done all the time because there's other populated fields that you can only access from the web interface. But I've also wondered if that is truly useful for Robert, because that's more of like, if someone can go back and run reports and say, well, how many plumbing items do we have? How many electrical? And where I see the usage coming in is just, room, whatever, has an electrical problem. It's all in the description. Robert's team goes and knocks it out. So there's not a whole lot of value to that extra metadata. That's for reporting if somebody is now in there running the reports and looking at the data. So my team, I have all 3 of us access to our help portal, and I assign tickets out to the person. They enter, part of my process is that there has to be a note added by the technician of what was done, some communication back out to the person who sent the email. And then if the item's not complete, the person can send the email back just from the email interface to say, hey, this wasn't done, please reopen the ticket. That's beneficial because I have 3 people, me included, looking at it, and we're managing our own tickets, where with the maintenance team, those guys are out in the field. Robert's the only one on the actual computer side. So the more reporting is an easy thing, it's what do you do with the data? That's where an extra person might be beneficial to manage that. So when a principal says, when a ticket comes in saying the job is done for this room, and then the principal or the teacher report back, well, it's not done. There's not a whole lot of information to go off of. What did the guys do? What was there a misunderstanding of the information there? So then it's all back to just submit a new ticket, and really maybe it could be, if another person was in the mix, they would walk out and verify, well, what did you mean by this? You said the thermostat was dead. We fixed the thermostat. What really was the problem? And my team does that a lot. We walk out to the classroom if there's misunderstanding or needs more clarification, and we say, we heard, I understand you're saying this. What really is the problem? And we have that dialogue. But again, my team is going out to the customer, where maintenance isn't really in that easy of a position. And I like what Steve said, the coordinator position of the mine and the plant. That's exactly why a coordinator exists, to manage the workload and to be that middleman when the project's not done or there was a misunderstanding or something else happened. But instead, right now, we're just loading more tickets into the system, and it's the same. It might be the same issue, but it looks like it's just more work, particularly for Robert from paper management. And so I can't think of one, even the systems I've used that are like industry standard, the gold standard for mega IT corporations. They're more complicated in case, but they're designed to have that coordinated team, that help desk team, that first tier people to send items out to a technician. And then the technician is talking back to that middle person, and the middle person's talking to the customer. So that's how they're designed for scale. And so we're getting lost a little bit of the documentation. Even my team, I put on a requirement last year that you can't close a ticket without typing in a resolution. And that was going great for a little while, but the ticket load became so big that I was spending easily 4 hours a week just doing paperwork to close the ticket. And I eventually turned it off because there wasn't any benefit of me putting all that documentation in the ticket because I wasn't going back to it. As long as my team was putting one little blip of this is what we did, that's enough for me so we can open that ticket back up if we had to do something. But it's a lot of paperwork for one person to handle, and if they're also handling tickets themselves.
So that's one of the things that's missing on our side when I had Evan come to take a look at that, is the piece that you can reply back. It says that you can click on that to ask further questions or to follow up, and so that's happened quite a few times where it's exactly what he's talking about. It's the piece where it's not completed, or there needs to be more information, but it comes across as the maintenance portal that the job is closed. Well, there's no way it says click on this to reply or comment, but when you click on that, it doesn't go anywhere. And so therefore, then you have to go back in and submit a ticket again. And so when it could be an easy thing just to be able to, to put on that, if you could get that.
I think I fixed it, and it was more of just inconvenient, like usability inconvenience. Like the feature was there the whole time we were looking at it, and it just required one extra click to activate it. So I'll follow up with you and show you how it works. Because it works on beneficial.
But in what your team does, just kudos for that, because that's very important to be able to get that feedback. Just to say that it is closed, this is what happened, or I don't have that, just the communication piece.
I know somebody retiring.
It's a big role.
Tom,
Have you guys read the report that I submitted? You want me to go through it, or you have copies of it right here if you want to look at it?
I didn't see it at the top of the agenda, so I'm sorry, I did not read it yet.
No, I'm just, I know with the school reports,
Mhm.
I know the school reports and stuff, you guys have any questions? But while you guys decide and answer them, I would like to say thank you to all of our sub drivers who have chipped in and helped us out. Robert, Don Purden, Don Asbury, Candace Angel, Tom Mansell, and all the coaches and parents who have chipped in with athletics and with driving buses, and we would not be on the road without their help. And so they have been absolutely fantastic. And I say thank you. With that said, we do still need drivers, and we are working on it. We have a couple leads that are out there. We have talked about the powwow grounds and had a phone call last Friday that seemed to be productive, and basically the compromise we worked out was if the powwow grounds, like if we do have inclement weather because of the demands down there, we will shift to picking up kids at Boys and Girls Club. We did get a bus stuck down there, and that was a harrowing call to get it 5:30 in the morning. I'm sure the guy stuck in the snow was even less thrilled. But so we did work that out. muddy cluster is getting taken care of. And the bottleneck that we're gonna run into, we have at least one candidate who is ready to test. But the driver's test, my understanding is that there is one person to cover all of southeast Montana to do drivers, like to actually do the driving portion of the bus test. And so it's taking anywhere from 3 to 4 months to get a date to take your driving test. So they can take the written test, which is what we're encouraging. But as far as, that final step, that driving test is 3 to 4 months. Like scheduling that out that far.
Is the rest of the state out that far too?
My understanding, yeah, I mean, they got one person for southeast Montana, I'm gonna guess they don't have a whole thing. But I don't know if you can drive somebody to Missoula.
I mean, really?
But, I mean, if it's a matter of waiting 3 months or being able to schedule 2 weeks out,
I feel like Eastern Montana always gets short staffed on stuff like that. So I would definitely look into, Bozeman to Missoula just to see.
The big stuff coming out of the MHSA Winter Conference I have there. So they are going to allow 9th graders to compete, under 9th graders, 8th graders, to compete concurrently in the same sport. So like for boys basketball, if we were to have an 8th grade boy that could, that was needed to play up, then they would be able to still play the high school and middle school schedule together. That cleans up the Title IX issue of the girls having the potential to play more games. The one question that I had in clarifying it is for wrestling, there's a slight overlap in the middle school and high school season, how that would affect weigh-ins. Like if their middle school weigh-ins would count against their high school weigh-ins and how that would work. We are in a fortunate position that at the current time, we have plenty of kids in high school that want to play sports. And so we're not, braving those 8th graders, but there are quite a few schools that are using it, so this is going to help them. The one that failed would have been a 50-mile rule for participation. That was basically a dispute between Paulson and Moran, because I guess Rowan keeps stealing athletes from Paulson, and so they wanted MHSA to make it where you can sit out 6 months if you do miles. But that's not kind of the intent of what they're doing. The amateur rule was if you have name, image, and licensing is actually becoming a thing for high school kids. And when I first saw this, I was like, is this for real? I actually called some of my buddies back down south in Georgia, actually coached a kid from Indiana. They got him to come to a high school in Georgia with NIL money. So yeah, this is a real thing that's happening in high schools, high school quarterback. So yeah, you think they're going to college, they're going to high school too. So basically what they did was try to get out in front of it, basically saying you can't use any kind of school image, property, equipment if you're going to have any kind of endorsement deal. They raised the cap for the MHSA awards rule from $100 a year to $500 a year. And that's kids get t-shirts at camps and things like that. They'll be able to get that kind of stuff. They did pass a 3-game ban if a fan is ejected. That's automatic statewide, so that's going to require us to communicate between schools. But basically, if we throw somebody out for misbehaving in a game, they automatically miss the next 3 games, and if that season ends, it carries over into whatever the next sporting event is. So they're trying to crack down, trying to get fans to behave a little bit better. Big one for us is going to be changing the high school sports physicals from annually to every 2 years. So they would have to get a full physical their 9th grade year and their 11th grade year. And the idea behind that is kind of put an end to that assembly line physical type of thing that's been happening. The doctors, this was actually recommended by doctors. So they're saying it's better to get a full physical every 2 years and have the doctor be able to take the time and do it right versus doing it every year and oh, your name, your breathing, okay. Good. And so they're still going to do the medical history form every year so that the kids will, if there's any significant changes, the school can ask for a physical. Also, this is the minimal rule. So if districts do still want to require it annually, or they want to put conditions on it and modify it, they can write that into their own policies. But as a state, they're shifting it to every year. So that would be something if you guys, if you guys felt that it was that we were better protected going every year, we could still do that. They're just kind of giving their recommendation on that. The good news for us, we now have a friend on the MHSA executive board. Pretty on top from Montrez and GAD down there, was elected to be the American Indian representative on the MHSA board, executive board. So that was kind of cool. Have somebody here that is familiar with our issues in the side of the state to be representing us on the board. This was a big one and hot topic of discussion at the Southern B meeting there. Divisional basketball, nobody wants it. I'm sorry, division volleyball. Division basketball, everybody wants it. That's division volleyball. Division volleyball, no one wants it. It's not that people hate volleyball, because volleyball is very exciting. It's a problem. And no, I will admit that as a favor. I enjoyed watching the games, but I did not enjoy watching the financial report. It's not just us, like across the state, people lose money on divisional volleyball. So they went ahead and our Southern group decided that they will do a $3,500 stipend to schools when they have that to help offset the costs that the schools incur. They're still pushing the flag football. Flag football is great. It's wonderful for the girls. It's not a scholarship sport, and the way it currently lies, it would kill volleyball. Because it is a fall sport, and girls have to choose it in the smaller schools. There are schools that let them participate in both. I don't see how that works because both sports require pretty focused, pretty concentrated practices, and I just can't see sharing athletes in two sports like that. And one thing that they did bring up was making especially in particular Class B football, more competitive because there's a big chasm between the haves and the have-nots, and they're looking at ways they're open to discussion as to what to do about it. I don't want to form some sort of group to examine how to make it better. Like they know that it's not fair, they don't have a solution, they don't even think they have a solution, they want to get people together and talk about it. With that in mind, I did have the AD down at St. Lebray talked with me at the meeting about the possibility of us co-oping with them, because they don't even have enough kids. They do have interest in football, but they don't have enough kids to consistently field an 8-man football squad. And so they talked about co-oping with our school, and that could be a benefit to where they could provide transportation and provide equipment and coaching. We already have a couple of our coaches that are actually employees at St. Lebray. And so I think that could be something to explore, something to talk about, something to look at, and I think it could be mutually beneficial for us.
So there's a difference too between co-oping and if the other school just doesn't have that sport.
Yeah. Because
if they don't have football at all, then their students could come play with us, and we wouldn't have to go through all of the process of getting approved as a co-op.
Yeah.
So we have that option too.
Yeah, so that's something, and I think it would be a good idea for us Especially when you look at the last few teams that made deep runs in the playoffs or are state champions. They're co-op teams. So that's pretty much what came out of there. Any questions for me?
Have you heard anything from Whitney about how they're going to handle ticket sales for the district?
So the one big question, because there was a rumor going about that they were shopping around the district tournament, and I point blank asked him that, and he said, no, they are not. They are going to have the full district tournament at Huntley.
Are they going to limit ticket sales per school? Have you?
No, I'm not aware of what the plan is on that. Not my monkeys, not my zoo. So, no. They're getting all that stuff ready. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I know that last week was super hectic with transportation. And I know we can't talk specifics about staff, but I mean, anything that could go wrong went wrong. And I thought you handled it very well. And Robert, great job driving that.
Do you need rest?
Yeah, good.
All right.
Put in a case ticket for it.
Nap.
You can figure it out.
All right. With that, Mr. Stewart.
Well, my report just highlights some things we've been working on this last month. Do you have any specific questions about any of it? I'm open to it. For that first item, moving the communication hubs to CHS, I've not received any details back from CenturyLink or Range, but I am interested in pursuing Range as being our one source provider for internet phones. I'm going to send them Range some information on our phone system to help us sort through that account. It's a very big account, and CenturyLink started off the year last year. They had a meeting with me that it sounded like they were coming back into the game to help their customer understand their data, but once the data dumps me, I can't get any more information back from them. And even they are unsure of why we have some services that we're paying for. So it's just old stuff that's just been on the books, and we just keep paying for it. I think there's a lot of things we're paying for, so it's hard to confirm. Like if we turn that off, what would we lose? They haven't asked me that. Can we do like a test run, turn it off for a day? And they say no, we have to shut it off completely. And if you need it back, now you start back at a line to get it turned back on. But Range says that their phone plans run over the internet, so there'll be some significant changes to how our phone system works. But I don't imagine it's going to be major changes to how people use the phone, just how the phone system's managed. So
I like the local back to with Range as well. So I agree. I think you should just really push your agenda that way. You know best, but if you're already thinking, just
the encouraging thing is with the fiber optic work that's being done, and even the fiber optic cables that are currently connecting the middle school to the high school. I talked with a Range field technician, and I thought the district owned the fiber from the middle school to here. So that's a huge liability for us. If anything went wrong with it, we have to pay for that couple of miles of fiber. But he told me, no, it's Range's fiber all over. Well, the one from this building down to Pine View is owned by the district. Range put it in for us some years ago. But he said the main one from this building back to the middle school is theirs. And when I talked months ago with Range, they said, yeah, if you're, at least for the internet, they said, whenever you're ready to move internet, the access point from the middle school to the high school, they said it's going to be way easier on their end of things. They're just going to ship us a new box, plug it in, and then we have to do the work to reconfigure the network to make it happen, which Pine Cove would do that for us. But it was encouraging for me to say, for them to say, all the underground stuff needed for that move is in place. So we wouldn't be waiting for them to do more digging or whatever. It's just, we tell them when, we schedule a time for it, and we can flip it over to this building. Which might be a good way to start it, is moving first, and then work on the phones and move everything over here, just as the primary connection points. communication wise, everything would still flow between the three buildings. Just after 4 once Pine Cove reorganizes some software to do that.
Is that something you think we should do this summer? When there's not a bunch of people around, or?
Well, definitely be a summer job to do. And work on that piece and see if we can get a project plan in place and see what it would cost to do that. So I think the phone would be the bigger cost, and we don't even know even like an estimate what that would be, but I think internet. And Range made it sound like it would be.
I think you should pursue that. 'Cause that's on the list that we can talk to Tyler about. So,
Yeah.
and the sooner we can get the quotes and all that stuff, the better we are. So,
I like the help desk ticket summary. I thought that was really good. At the very bottom. I really like that. And good job to you and your team.
all right. That being said, thank you all.